I want them to put Mew under the truck, but he's bleeding.
Thank you so much for coming to this episode of the podcast.
Second idea you've said. I really agree with Kevin. I actually really want that too.
On today's episode of the CRUBCAST, a very special episode, we're going to talk about the things that we want to see out of Generation 10, the next generation of Pokemon. My name's Kevin. I'm here with two of my fellow co-crubbers, the only two that know what a Pokemon is. I'm here with Justin.
I know what a Pokemon is. I've heard of Pikachu.
Name 12. And I'm here with Chris.
They Digivolve, right? That's their thing?
Yeah, they're the ones that they're Sujimon.
Yeah.
So today we've written down a wish list that each of us have for what we want to see out of Pokemon post-release of Pokémon Legends ZA, also known affectionately as Legends ZA to us. So if we say Zaza, that is why. Sorry. We have not played the DLC yet because this is being recorded before the DLC. It looks like it'll be just about the same sort of things that aren't going to add too much. So I'm not too worried about being proven wrong by stuff that's in that DLC yet. We're also probably not going to talk too much about the leaks that had happened related to what might be the next generation of games. Some stuff may relate a little bit to some vague things, but we're going to try and keep it relatively simple. Just stuff we want to see that, frankly, we know probably won't happen. But this is a wish list, not a list of what's going to happen.
Yeah, this is not a predictions video. This is what I want to happen.
Yeah. So Chris, I'm going to throw it to you first. What's a feasible one from your list?
Feasible. Okay. Boy, I think a feasible one. This is a very fan focused kind of thing. The last few generations haven't had a lot of old characters coming around. The series was kind of leaning on that really hard for a while. And we get flashes like Ingo was in Legends Arceus, right? But there was a time where it was almost comical how many characters from other countries would just randomly be there. I'd like to find a nice middle ground because I think Scarlet Violet had a lot of things where I'm like, oh, I wish it had this, but I think it would have maybe helped if it felt a little more part of the Pokemon world. I think back to like Black and White had the PWT or whatever it was where you could battle a whole bunch of trainers, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, let you fight Red and Blue, right? It'd be, this is going to be the 30th anniversary. I'm okay with a little more fan service if we like fight them again, just something to connect it a little bit more. Like,
was it Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon that had Team Rainbow Rocket too?
Yes.
Yeah. And that brought in a whole bunch of villains too. Yeah.
I'll say, I like that you said a little more because I've been on record in some Pokemon discussions we've had in the past. I came back in from a couple of generations away with Sun because the marketing for Sun got me. I was like, oh, it's been 20 years. That's nostalgic. That'd be really cool. And I bought in. And I was very disappointed ultimately with what we got out of that game because it was so much fan service that I don't think Alola still has a character. Because it
probably has a character more in the anime, but we haven't gotten there yet in Podcastamon.
Speaking of, Podcastamon is a series on Patreon for now, maybe public at some point down the road, but it's currently on our patreon.com/crub. We are going through every episode of both the Pokemon anime and the Pokemon Horizons anime. So we have two separate series going on. We are 200 episodes into the main Pokemon. That's 1/6 of the way through. And we're also, I think, like 30% of the way through Horizons at the current time of recording, though not all of that is out yet. But you get a few of those a month at patreon.com/crub on the audio tier. Hundreds of hours of bonus content. That's our plug out of the way.
To agree with you. Yeah. Because Sun and Moon went too far in the sense of like, A, there's a whole bunch of Gen 1 Pokemon at the start, which is a whole other thing. B, you get to a point where it's like Colress from Black 2 and White 2 is just randomly on an island doing
and he's
something.
Just walking around talking to you about Zygarde.
Yeah. And you do get to a point where it's like, okay, maybe we have a little too much fan service going on to where it starts pulling away from the essence of what this region is. So I'd like a middle ground.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
I do like that one. I think when you had said initially that you wanted more, characters to come back, my first thought was ZA, and then you said different regions because all of ZA's characters are from Lumiose. So that is a little bit different. I would like more of that continuity. I know every Pokemon's in its own universe and dimension nowadays, or whatever is convenient for them.
Whatever, yeah.
So I don't really know.
Yeah. To counter that, though, my own point, it's like I have liked a lot of the new characters, maybe less so in Zaza, but like I like most of the Scarlet Violet cast, frankly, like the
They were
gym
really
leaders
good.
and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm not like hurting for old characters. I don't like the new ones. I just kind of want to feel a little more connected again.
Also, you don't want to feel like you're leaving those Scarlet and Violet characters in the past. You don't want to leave them behind. You'd like to see them pop up again. Same thing with a lot of the other characters that are in other games. I mean, like, you're not going to see Legends characters show up in Lumio City, but like you do get Perrin, and Perrin's a connection back to that Legends Arceus thing. So like you just like to see them continuing to build on what they're currently doing, which I agree. I agree on quite a bit.
To your point, there's a feasible one that I have here on my list that I have up on my phone that kind of relates to going back to things we liked out of old Pokemon games. I would like to see the return of bespoke dungeons / forests / areas, or of Arceus-styled soft level gates, because Arceus had the alpha Pokemon that were there to tell you, hey, if you're not this level, you're going to get your ass beat. And I really enjoyed that sort of level gating, and ZA did not have that whatsoever, just because the nature of what that game kind of is. Yeah. So that was understandable, but I really liked having like a Viridian Forest, for example, or like having a shitty cave that we all hate, but now we kind of like because it's better than the caves in Scarlet and Violet. I think.
Do you want them to move away from like an open world game?
Well, I think if you're going to have an open world game, that's fine. I think you can have a forest that is a Lost Woods situation, like in Breath of the Wild's Lost Woods, where it sucks you into a dedicated area. It allows you to create a proper, again, bespoke area that lets you do level design. Because that's the thing that the way that Scarlet and Violet were, there is not really much level design because there has to be climbable for your ride Pokemon no matter what. It has to be things you can fly over. Yeah.
And even when the caves are intricate, like exactly what you mentioned at the end there, like you can just climb up and glide anyway.
Past them.
It doesn't feel like it was built for that to be compatible with the way they designed the caves either. So it's weird. Like the caves are kind of intricate sometimes in Scarlet Violet, but that's
it's more of like a function to be like a little nook for you to discover if you're exploring. It's not meant to be. You have to go through Granite Cave to get to the next thing.
There is like one case where you're supposed to go through the cave system, and it just isn't really. Again, it's not really done that well, especially when there's just a Groudon sitting in there in post game, and it just looks kind of dumb. And to that point, there's a variant I have of this that I'm going to throw as well, which was knowing some of the vague stuff from the leaks that we've heard about it being maybe procedural in some capacity. I thought about the idea of repeatable roguelike styled dungeons with pre-made assets and level pieces in the vein of like a mystery dungeon. Because Pokemon's post game is always kind of flat, even with the Battle Frontier. Everyone says they play Battle Frontier, no one does. Like
I was gonna say, is it something like Dynamax Adventures and Sword and Shield DLC? Where they have the paths where you get your own random Pokemon and you have to go with your friends and go to the end of the path and there's maybe a legendary Pokemon at the end.
Sort of like that.
You actually get to run through an area would probably
instead of it just being a little like line and saying I'm going to this battle next.
Like you wouldn't have this point of comparison, Justin, but Chris, you can vouch for me. The Like a Dragon RPG dungeons. Where they are sort of, or in Ishin as well to a lesser extent, where they are dungeons that can be procedurally generated using the basic schematics they have of like this is this square of the boring sewer, but it's it's unique and there's different rooms, different Pokemon, different items. It's a better way to me of doing that sort of end game progression where they just give you the big Pokeball capsule that you could just put materials into and get that stuff. That's nice. That's convenient. I just kind of want a way to play the game once I'm done, because I finished ZA and it's just shiny hunting. That's all it's left. Like you can do the ZA Royale and you can keep fighting the same 4 people over and over again, and that's it's better than nothing.
And stuff like that. Yeah,
it's better than nothing. But like, why would I do that in ZA when Scarlet and Violet's post game for the DLC has stuff you can just shove into a Pokeball capsule and get a bunch of free stuff for much easier, much less effort?
Yeah. I mean, because like in normal generations, you have the excuse of, well, now you can go online and like do battles.
And you can, but
and you can do
different.
it in ZA, but like it's not the same. Because like you can EV spread and min-max things so you can battle better in the ZA Royale online mode, but it doesn't really it doesn't feel great.
Yeah, and
I do just enough to get the rewards that I want, like the chestnut, and then I leave.
Yeah, I think if, especially because like you get like what you get a nugget for getting up to like level H or whatever. It's a neat idea. It is a Legends game. It's meant to be different, and I like the stuff that it does differently. But for a mainline Pokemon game, I think it'd be really cool for there to be something that is low effort and repeatable, because we haven't really had that outside of things like the Battle Frontier in quite a while.
Would you like it to use your actual party, or would you like to have a randomly generated party from your box, maybe?
That'd be a cool option, be a cool modifier. It could be, you can only use fire types in this one. It can, there's ways to make modifiers like that are very simple, that don't take a lot of effort to, I think it's a feasible inclusion as long as they can create the assets. Obviously, what Game Freak can do is a different story. But if you want to add lengthy amounts of content, they already did that in ZA with the Royale having randomly generated trainers and Pokemon and battle scenarios and maps.
Yeah,
using
you could just do that
map around the world,
but make it an actual dungeon instead of it just being a place in the world.
Yeah, and I think that'd be cool. It's a good way to bring in characters like you said, Chris, from old games. They could just be randomly in there, where people for years are discovering, oh, we found Looker. He's in a cave with a Mewtwo. Like whatever. Yeah. Justin, what's one of your feasible ones?
Feasible ones? This is going to sound unfeasible, but it's very feasible. The thing that I want is not a new battle gimmick, but for them to just expand on the ones that they have. Because I think that they have a lot of potential to make more Dynamax forms, more Gigantamax forms, more Mega Evolutions, more unique Z moves. And terrestrialization, you kind of have gotten to the end of that. But I think that you have created so many interesting ways of battling that I don't want them to mess with it too much more, because I feel like you've kind of already hit the apex of terrestrialization that makes battles so interesting in Scarlet and Violet, that I would just like to see like what they have expanded. So like... Yeah. More Gigantamax forms, more ways to use Dynamax. Maybe terrestrialization's a direct counter to like Dynamax or something like that. Like terrestrialization works, like terrestrialized Pokemon are strong against Dynamax Pokemon. So you don't have
Z moves are strong against Megas, etc.
Yeah, and stuff like that. Like I would like to see them to expand on what they have, than creating just something random, because that's just going to be something they're going to end up having to shoehorn into Pokemon Champions as well.
Well,
all right. Yeah.
I was going to say, like, a lot of that almost sounds like stuff that would be made for Champions at this point. Because the vibe to me seems like once Champions is out, the Legends series of experimentation might become closer to what the main series of Pokemon is.
And it's like, what is the main Pokemon series at that point, if not just an expansion of Legends?
Like, yeah, and which is fine. Like Legends to me is like some of the more interesting stuff they've done in the series, and I like the turn-based battle system, but they haven't done, to your point, anything interesting with it in a long time. Most of the battles are relatively brain dead to do in the main games nowadays. There's not a difficulty setting. If we were going to say difficulty, let's just get that out of the way. That'd be cool to add. It'd be cool to add things like scaling enemies to whatever level you are, or better AI in general. Because sometimes it's almost close to being really cool.
The closest they ever got was the Blueberry Island battling, where it was all double battles and it was all like competitively viable teams.
Yeah, that was really fun.
That was the closest they got to it. Yeah, and it was really, really cool.
Like there were a lot of cool builds in that one, in that DLC especially. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. I like more stuff like that. I want to see more use out of the mechanics, even if it's not the stuff like the Megas, like you had said. Because I assume that stuff is getting shoved into a corner in Champions, because the more they expand that stuff, the messier it gets.
Messier, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, you already have so much already. You don't need more. You need to just play with the stuff that you have.
Yeah. It's like even items, like how frequently are you seeing trainers use battle items, right? And like held items. Like you'll get someone who's a berry sometimes, right? Yeah. But there's so much that's like every time I go to Scarlet Violet and scroll through my dozens of items and it takes forever, I'm like, there's so much here that a kid, I presume, like
never looks at,
doesn't know what to do with it. Maybe because their whole life playing Pokemon and never does anything with it.
And the descriptions are not like super descriptive. They're kind of vague still.
Yeah.
So like you have to go into like an external source to be like, the life orb gives you specifically 30% more damage at the cost of 10% of your life.
Right. And it's like, I don't need them to make the main game so difficult that you have to like juggle.
You have to use this. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would like them to surface this stuff a little more and have me go, oh, they're using a life orb. What do I need to do something about this? Or can I just keep, like at least engage a little more?
I'm not just mashing A on Thunderbolt because it's a water type trainer. Like I actually think about something.
That was one of the coolest things about Cassette Beasts to me. Was that all the typings? Yeah, shout out to Cassette Beasts, really cool game. All the typings, the weaknesses and resistances of those beasts are not based on the amount of damage you do. Each weakness and resistance has a counter effect to that type. So there's a glass type creature, and the wind type creates a resonance special state. And if you have 3 stacked resonances, it just shatters the Pokemon immediately, and they faint. And there's so many cool things like that. There's like counter poison spikes, that sort of stuff. It's much more involved than Pokemon should be. To be clear, that's a game made for people that want that. Yeah. Yeah. And as adult men, we are the correct audience for Pokemon to cater to. So they should be doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but I don't need stuff like that necessarily. But I've always thought it was a shame that Bombardier is a flying type first and a dark type second, and the secondary effect is not a more passive effect on stats. Like, I think it'd be cool if they completely went the Zaza way of like changing how moves work entirely and made it so that your primary type is the type that is more affected by weaknesses and resistance, and your secondary type is less so. That's not on my list. It's just a cool idea that I've always had.
Interesting.
For like what's the difference between a dark flying type and a flying dark type? It's nothing. It's just the stats for whatever that Pokemon individually is.
And also Bombardier's like ability is like specific to buff rock type moves, because the idea is that it drops rocks on Pokemon. So why is it not a rock type at that point?
Because it's mischievous, so it drops things, I guess. But that's also what Murkrow does. So again, like there'd be cool ways to expand, like Murkrow is dark flying, etc. Yeah. Just stuff like that. It'd be really cool to see them expand upon, no matter what form they take it in. To your point, Justin.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you have? Another feasible one? Do you want to do a less feasible one? Pie in the sky.
I have a very feasible one that came to me during that discussion.
Sure,
but it's a throw it out. So go on to another one. I like better communication on Pokemon Home when the game comes out, because right now it's like we have this weird thing of like how you can put a Pokemon from Zaza, but you can't put it back into it. And that's a weird wrinkle. But there's always this like weird gestation period when a new Pokemon game comes out now where you like have to wait for Pokemon Day.
Yeah, Pokemon Home can't be used with the game. And they use it for like justification of their competitive scene, where like the first format is only Pokemon that you have in the base game. And then when Pokemon Home comes out, it expands.
Right.
It's like that's their justification, but really it's just like you could just do this.
Yeah, right. They already have more annoying to people.
They have the data, they have origin marks, they have ways of checking, right? It's just
you can just do that.
I don't even need it to be day and date, though I would prefer that. I just like to like have a rough time period of like when as someone who spends way too much time in Pokemon Home, just when can I expect it, Because sometimes Pokemon Home or Pokemon Day comes and goes and they don't even mention it. And you're like, oh yeah. I pay you for this, though.
I'll take that and I'll expand it further. Okay. I think it'd be cool if, with compatibility to Pokemon Home, the way you phrase that made me think of how a lot of games nowadays do the really cool thing, in my opinion, of saving New Game Plus for an update. Because that way you enjoy the game on its terms. You don't rush through it just to get the New Game Plus for a trophy or whatever. They know the exact, right. This is the lame part, but they know the exact right focus tested time to release it based on when it's done and when players you want them to come back for a sale or whatever, or a new mode or whatever it might be. It'd be cool if, and this is pie in the sky, they knew compatibility with Pokemon Home was like 3 months out from launch every time. 3 months out, they launch that feature, and somehow there's like a New Game Plus in Pokemon. Just thought of that idea.
Use whatever you want.
Yeah. I'm okay with it being like a Pecharunt free event, but you'd flesh it out a little bit more. Like it could be something like that, just to get people back into it.
Well, I'm just thinking related to the home thing. I think it'd be cool if you could do runs without having to create a new profile every time. I know multiple save files is a concern point, but if you could back up your save within Pokemon Home to do a New Game Plus, And then
That
like
would be
it,
cool.
you know, like there's some cloud save connectivity they could do there if they had more resources than all of the resources on Earth that they have.
$20 a year for Pokemon Home, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. I get that every February.
Yeah.
My
Like,
next one,
I'm okay with that.
yeah,
Because nowadays you just have to make a new profile on your Switch to do another run.
And you could still connect it to Home. Like you could still do that, but it'd be I don't know, it'd be cool.
yeah. My next one was just I want. Zaza brought a lot of side quests, but a lot of them, it felt like they were Yakuza style, and a lot of them were kind of funny. But it felt like just as soon as they were going to start getting to the point where it would build on like the joke or the situation, they just end. Like there's like 100 side quests. I'd be okay with way less if they were more in depth and fleshed out and got to actually tell more involved jokes and stories. Like Kevin, you were telling me about the Starmie cult one for a while, and I got there and I'm like, oh, this is a classic stupid Yakuza side quest. This is going to be funny.
Yeah.
And it ends right as it feels like it gets going, and it happens with so many of those side quests.
It almost feels like what a lot of the earlier Yakuza side quests were, where there were like 150 in Yakuza 3, and it's like, okay, half of these are literally just talk to a guy.
Four of them are like, oh, you broke my arm, you're going to have to pay for this.
Yeah, so they could get from the Yakuza 3 and 2 style they currently have them at and evolve them into where Yakuza quests are today. Yeah, and it is the funniest Pokemon game to date to me. Like I think they do a really good job. Yeah,
because like they've shown that they can like really actually nail that vibe now, right? Like the one where you bring, was it Litwick or something to the police officer's wife, and she's like, "Oh, I've been depressed at home or whatever, or he's been away too much." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's fun."
Yeah. Right? There was the Litwick that stole life energy, and they're like, "You shouldn't do that. I am older than you. I have more life energy to steal for the little sister or whatever." There's so many fun ones in ZA. And to your point, one of my notes was a really quick one I was going to throw out, which was proper side quests, not just to your point, but the ones that have like tracking in the same way that Legends has them. Like there are a lot of side quests in Pokemon history, and every time up until Legends, as far as I can think of, they were in the form of like not even a bomber's notebook situation. You just had to remember that it was there. And I think it'd be cool to have more of a reason to explore the worlds if it's an open world game by way of side quests. I think that's the thing that Scarlet and Violet were sorely missing by just shoving things in the world. Obviously, those games were the breaking point for Pokemon. They now have an extra year of production. So hopefully those things can be resolved. But that was a quick one I'll throw out.
Justin.
Yeah, Justin, you throw one out while I'm looking at mine here.
Yo, well, this one's incredibly pie in the sky, but okay. I just want it. If you are gonna make a new battle mechanic or a new battle gimmick, I would personally like for it to be Shadow Pokemon. Where you bring Shadow Pokemon back and you have that be a part where it's like there's benefits and drawbacks to having Shadow Pokemon, and maybe there is like a turn it on and off mode where like I want Shadow Primate on this team, and then on the next team it's like I want a normal Primate because it has different moves and abilities and stuff like that.
At a point late game, you could just have a Shadow Stone that you just give, expose a Pokemon to that does that sort of thing. There's ethical implications, but like the whole mechanic is there in Go, and they take it from Go. Raids are from Pokemon Go, lest we forget. Like
they've taken stuff from Pokemon Go, and if Shadow Pokemon can be brought back in any which way, and it could be like fleshed out into a like whole gimmick in the game, I think that would be really, really cool.
Yeah,
I can like that. There was like a good risk reward or like pro con system to Shadow Pokemon that like I don't think was perfect, but could definitely get to someone more interesting.
Yeah. Like because it was like Shadow Pokemon moves can't be resisted, but there's no super effective move. Yeah, and they had a bunch of really cool moves and stuff like that in Coliseum and XD.
And you were gonna say in Go, Chris, like they're glass cannons.
Yeah, like they do more damage, but they take more damage. That's an interesting thing to consider. Yeah.
And there's a lot of fun stuff there. I think you could do with that. It's a really cool one. I have a couple that I'll run through quickly because we kind of hit on some of them. I did say scaling gyms if it's open world. I think that's a necessity. And to your point earlier, Justin, I would like gyms that focus on strategy rather than type.
Yes,
like you kind of got there with the better mechanics or like using them more.
And the champions in Blueberry Academy, like Lacey's a fairy type trainer, but like not all the Pokemon are explicitly fairy type. Like they have reasons for being on the team and stuff like that.
Yeah, and so I think that'd be cool. the only one I have before I get to the pie in the sky ones left is, again, to that end, I would like a story focus that carries throughout the main story branches rather than how they were in Scarlet and Violet, where they were so separated from one another and the school itself was so optional, essentially.
There's a backdrop.
Like,
There's a backdrop to everything happening.
They didn't want you to actually have to go back and forth because they felt that would affect the pace of the game and railroad you. But I think they should have done that because it would have allowed for more proper, dedicated story moments that are experienced in a set order, which I think that game desperately needed because we saw once they focused at the end, it got really good.
Surprised they didn't do like a semester split. Like you did a few gyms and they're like, oh, it's the end of the first semester. Come back and study for finals or something.
That's exactly it. Like you do a couple of the school quests, you know, maybe they're not super long. They're still somewhat optional, but you have to talk to your friends and you get more with them because that was some of the most rewarding parts of that game were 100%. The interactions with those characters. Yeah. And it was so much of a shame that like at a certain point you just don't talk to them anymore, like in every Pokemon game, that the DLC was made for you to be able to do it endlessly. And I always thought that with the Terra raids, it'd be cool if you could call up your friends like it's a GTA game, like your in-game friends, and say, hey, come raid with me. Like Nimona shows up in a raid.
Instead of having random people that just showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think there'd be really cool stuff like that is ripe for the picking if you find a way to weave your story in a bit more cohesively with like an anchor point or something. You know? Yeah. Do we have any non-pie in the sky ones, or are we getting silly now?
I have one more quick one. Sure. Or two, I guess, technically. If we're still doing traditional battle style, just bring over the ZA sidebar status update things. I don't want to mash through being paralyzed and being poisoned and it's raining and it's sunny. Just put it on the side. It's a little too fast in Zaza, maybe, right? Sometimes I miss things.
Especially when it's real time in ZA. Like there's so much there that like there's so much you miss because you just have to keep moving around and hitting buttons.
Yeah, but it's hard. Yeah. It's hard to go back. My other one, I either want them to keep the, you know, on Scarlet Violet, like we could technically just play online together and then run off and do our own things.
Yep.
I either would just like that to keep being a thing because honestly, it was just kind of fun hanging out on Discord with you guys and just doing what we were doing.
That's why I bought the game.
Yeah. Or I'd like to see them, and I think they will, like go into that more and have more specific things for you to be able to do with your friends. Like you can like do the barbecue quest, but I'd like to do something
BBQs were close. And that was a thing that I have
BBQs,
here actually.
But fun, please. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, BBQs, but fun for one. But I'll bounce off of that. Yeah. My pie in the sky one of mine. Actually, I'll say all three quickly. One, I would like interiors, clearly impossible. Two, I would like voice acting in cutscenes where voice acting is very clearly necessary, clearly impossible. But my third one is the one that bounces off what you said. Actual co-op, like maybe you can team up to do double battle gyms or double battle rebattles, or there's a battle frontier that's double battle themed where you can team up with your friends and get extra rewards. There's a reason for you to have the online then, because they very clearly want you to have Switch Online with Pokemon now based on how ZA goes, where you can't get certain Megastones unless you have online.
Yeah.
That's clearly part of the intent of what they want to do going forward. So I think having some form of actual co-op beyond even the BBQs, but good. That's why I said like raidable dungeons. I think that'd be cool to be able to go through a dynamic roguelike dungeon with your friend, you know, procedurally generated, not roguelike necessarily.
Because I was going to say that the most fun thing that I think Pokemon's ever done multiplayer like that is the Sword and Shield Dynamax raids where you could partner up with your friends and actually do them with your friends.
Yeah. I think I'd want to actually do Battle Frontier if I could hang out with like you guys and just work on it together and like strategize.
That would make it appealing. Yeah. Like that'd make it actually kind of cool.
It'd actually be really cool if we could like all do one tower each or use each other's Pokemon and be like, hey, I need a grass type for this. Let me borrow your Venusaur.
Can we swap out for this round or something? And now you have to deal with my Pokemon. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
That's
there,
almost like that's like a show vibe then at that point where you have a gang of friends that are going through a challenge together and like that'd be really fun. Like that's almost at a point you're just having kids make GTA roleplay at that point with Pokemon, and that's not a bad idea.
That's not a bad thing. The kids are on GTA. Kids are on GTA anyway. Might as well get them on Pokemon.
Yeah. Maybe they can kill also in Pokemon.
That'd be fun. I would say my last hot pie in the sky like thing that I wanted is this is not going to happen because if this did happen, it would be like a Legends game. This wouldn't be really good for Gen 10, but I wanted like a Horizons type story with like a through line exploring the region, going to different areas for a through line instead of just doing the 8 gyms.
Yeah.
Oh, you want an actual narrative.
I think that'd actually be really, really cool. Because you have an actual narrative through line through Legends ZA. Why is it not just like, hey, we have to find these 6 legendary Pokemon, and these 6 legendary Pokemon will help us find the land that our parents are at or whatever.
I'll take that further. I mean, you could even do that in the scope of what kind of trainer are you, and the through line is unique to you in that, well, what if you want to start your focus as contests? And you focus on contests first, and then maybe, the post game is then gyms for you. It's the same story, but you can't. You're locked out of it until a certain point in, unless you choose to physically change. Like, there's so much more involved in that. Not feasible at all. But like, that'd be really cool. In the same vein as the co-op thing. Like, what if at that point one of us is a contest person, one of us is doing the gyms, one of us is doing the Team Star equivalent or fighting the alpha Pokemon, and we are a team that can then get to the end game together faster because we then have one of each of us doing that instead of one of us
champion.
Yeah, like by way of the team having all 3 keys to get to the final area. What if you can do it sooner and then it's harder because you have lower level Pokemon?
Lower level Pokemon, yeah. That'd actually be really cool.
Like that's like a Pokemon MMO at that point almost, which that's the pie in the sky everyone's always wanted.
Hire me, Nintendo.
Yeah, hire this man.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
I have one pie in the sky one just because it just feels so unlikely for many real world business reasons, but I want to draw a clear differentiation here. There is the Pokemon trading card game, but Pokemon is a JRPG, and JRPGs back in the 90s always had stupid, pointless card games. And I was just thinking, it's like, I don't want them to put the Pokemon TCG into Pokemon, but I want a stupid Pokemon card game in Pokemon to waste time on. Just thinking about things I could do in the game that aren't just running around battling, right? It'd be kind of...
do you want the game corner back?
No, I don't. I've never liked the game corner. I've never liked Voltorb Flip or slots or anything, but some side non-battle JRPG activity to kind of sink my teeth into. Like, in a way, contests are kind of that sometimes, but they've also been around for like 20 years, I don't know. It was
and
just,
you still haven't done them all yet.
Yeah, I was just like, it'd be kind of like a cool throwback to, I don't know, I can't say the series roots, but kind of the time when Pokemon landed, because like every Final Fantasy had a stupid card game back then, right? And I'm like, there's a literal Pokemon card game. Maybe there's some bridge here you could make. I don't know. This is just how it manifested for me. Of like, I'd like something else to focus on.
That'd be really cool. And to your point, yeah, very pie in the sky, because it already takes like, Gwent, or what's the stupid Horizon one with the figures in Forbidden Wests.
And then there's Condor Canyon or whatever hell it's called.
Condor Canyon, the other one in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as well.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many of these that exist in all these games, but they're also in very high budget RPGs, and Pokemon is not
very high budget. They don't got a lot of money.
Yeah.
Not a lot of money for that company.
I feel like the last time I can really remember something, the one that comes to mind is like the Olympic thing they had in Heart Gold Soul Silver.
Oh, the Pokeathlon.
I broke my DS on that.
Yeah, the Pokeathlon where you had to swipe the stylus on the DS touchscreen.
And like XY had little things like the EV training balloon shooting thing, and like Pokemon Ami where you could pet the Pokemon. It's like
Sun and Moon had like the middle universe dimension carnival thing.
The Pokepelago. Oh yeah, that was like their online like hub.
Yeah.
You had like the rooms that you could like trade like items for points.
I had never played it online because I didn't connect my 3DS to the internet at that point in time to do that. Or rather I did, but it wasn't like actually online. It was like Street Pass type with friends. It wasn't like a centralized thing. It felt sad. It reminded me of like when I would try and like go, I'd have the GBA adapter for the wireless adapter. Or I'd play
Fire Red Leaf Green.
Or I'd play on in Platinum. I'd go underground and be like, I hope I can somehow find someone through the DS Wi-Fi connection that's nearby and see theirs, and then no one ever did.
You go to the store and open up PictoChat on OGDS and be like, I hope someone messages me back and doesn't draw something bad.
Yeah.
and then you draw
Now
something
they're on
bad because
Roblox.
no one's there.
Now
Yeah.
it's Roblox.
Now
Yeah,
it's
now it's
Roblox.
Roblox.
Yeah.
They should add a Roblox mode. They should add a.
Well, they're adding Minecraft.
Well, they're doing Minecraft separately and Animal Crossing separately. So what if they did Fall Guys, Pokemon Fall Guys, where each of the 1,147 Pokemon by that point in the game has a different character model because they want you to be able. They want you to transform into the Pokemon based on that dumb shit from Scarlet and Violet, where that's where people think they want the series to go, is that you become the Pokemon, like a light anime. And imagine you could do that, but it's oops, I suddenly became a Dratini and I'm in Fall Guys.
I actually think that Fall Guys would go insanely hard.
That makes me sad.
could just
Also,
put Fall Guys in the
procedurally
game.
generated.
You could. You really could.
Those are the dungeons. The dungeons are just a bunch of like really shitty like parade floats.
I know my pie in the sky nostalgia thing. They should just remake the Pokemon Stadium mini games and put them in this one. 30,000 50-year-old men will cry and scream, and it'll be worth it.
$35 pokillion.
Yeah, like they'll just more $1 billion. Morbius will be back. It'll go well. Yeah.
They should make it so that you can make another type of food in this game with your friends, and it looks just as bad as in Scarlet and Violet, but on purpose.
Sandwiches.
Like, I want sandwiches, but worse. I don't know how you can make it worse, but I want it.
Let the game put the game back in New York. Make glizzies. I want to
Like,
stack up a glizzy with my homies.
No, Pokemon Philadelphia, and it's a cheesesteak.
Cheesesteak.
Okay.
We can go to Pokemon Vietnam and make it a banh mi.
Cheesesteak and
That'd work.
glizzy, because glizzy was both Chicago and Philly at the same time. That was like a concurrent evolution. Like there's Chicago and glizzy, and then there's Philadelphia and glizzy.
Glizzy, the Philadelphia type.
That was my issue coming into this. Trying to think of things though, right? Like there's already 1,000 Pokemon. They're already doing things I like regionals and concurrent and like all this other stuff. Where I'm like, I'm not really fiending for like more Pokemon, right? I'm not really fiending for more from like the music. I was like, I guess I just want weird ancillary side stuff because the main stuff is kind of already there. Aside from like the actual core design of the world of the game, right?
I know what we need. Divergent species Pudgy Pidgey. Fat Pidgeys.
Why not bring back Pudgy Pidgey from Pudgy Pidgey Island?
The Pidgeys that are on a Galapagos style island that are in the Pokemon anime that are so isolated that they have no predators, and so they just got fat.
You know, that'd be a neat thing too, right? It's like you don't have to make that a separate Pokemon, but if there was like variants, right, of like, oh, this is a Pidgey who's too fat to fly, so it's just like a normal type.
They're already kind of close to that, where they have like they have the different sizes for Pokemon, both by way of how they do it in ZA and Arceus with the alphas, but also sizes in general.
Bigger.
Yeah, like there's like, that's already there and in Pokemon Go as well.
Yeah, they have them. They upscale the models, but they don't make them fatter, and I want them fatter.
Yeah.
They should lean. Here's my pie in the sky. They should lean into all of the things that people made up about Sword and Shield. Like
make the decks even smaller.
Like they should say that they made a whole different set of models for each variant of each Pokemon when they are actually still exactly. There was a thing that I was telling Chris about where I finally looked into. I saw the Sword and Shield stuff. This is a non sequitur. I saw the Sword and Shield stuff happening, and unlike most people, I just said, oh, I guess it's not for me anymore. And I just didn't pay attention to it like a regular adjusted human.
Hours to complaining about it and boycotting and harassing people? What?
So by the time that I picked up Scarlet and Violet, thanks to you guys, and then went to Arceus, and one of my favorite Pokemon games in terms of the vibe and experience. Yeah. I have not played a lot of Sword and Shield, but I was looking into something about it at one point because there's stuff that I just don't know that I haven't played yet because I haven't gone back, but I haven't.
Yeah.
And one of them was people saying during the Dexit controversy that they were convinced that because they said there were a certain number of Pokemon they were recreating from scratch model-wise for the new games for HD, they were convinced that each individual Dynamax model was a different custom-made model that is exactly the same, and not just the higher-res version of the model, which it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were like, oh, because it was a thing where it was like, oh, the smoke texture is actually part of the model, and it was like, no, it's not.
No, it's not. You're just reaching.
And people still believe that now. At least 5 people on the internet still believe that, and they have
And if they listen to the CRUBCAST, they'll know they're wrong.
We don't like you.
Ooh, Pokemon conspiracy theorist in universe, where they think that all all humans that are running the government are actually like Salazzles.
They think they're Salazzles.
Okay.
That Gardevoir is not a real Gardevoir. I know it.
The ice wall at the edge of the Pokeverse. Yeah.
And there's a bigger wall behind it.
Don't talk about Pokemon Snowfall, where everything is swapped from Alola to Reykjavik, Iceland.
Well, in New Game Plus and Pokemon Sun and Moon, the islands get snowed over.
There you go.
Yeah.
You have to get all the Pokemon first before that gets there.
All right, we're in the weeds. Do we have any more?
I want them to put Mew under the truck, but he's bleeding.
Thank you so much for coming to this episode of the podcast.
Second idea you've said, I really agree with Kevin. I actually really want that too.
Yeah, if you want to see Mew get hit by a truck, make sure to hit the like button. If you don't, make sure to comment that you don't want Mew to get hit by a truck and explain why. And
then dislike your comment after you leave it.
Only good reasons will be accepted.
If you don't thumbs up your own comment, I don't believe you.
You're weak.
You don't care. You don't really believe in what you say. So why would I believe you?
Yeah. Stand by your opinion.